Welcome to the United States of America podcast. I am your host, Niti, and we are broadcasting live from the Food Church here on North Carolina. If you have missed past episodes, please be sure to take the time to watch the first episode and watch the rest like a documentary. We are a people at peace, and we have declared peace to all nations around the world. This is not a marketing or a promotional channel. We are shining a light on knowledge that is being hidden from you, and we are sharing the truth about your birthright and your inheritance. We have moderators who are assisting in the comment section. Be kind and self govern. And if you have questions, please put them in all caps and only enter them once per show. I am joined on air with Greg Clarkson, regenerative farmer and ASN on Kansas. Welcome, Greg.
Hi, Niti.
How are
How are
you?
you? I'm good. How are you?
I am good. Did
We
you
have a
have?
beautiful day here on Kansas. You can see the sun coming in my window. So, yeah.
I see. I see. I um I actually have you seen some of the notes? We got people on Kansas asking about some of the land stuff. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't.
Okay. I have some folks I want to share some things with you.
Cool.
Um But okay, so I told everyone that we're going to be talking about land, about how to get the land back into the hands of the real Americans. And so um, we want to be able to have as many conversations as we can with Anna. But right now, she has a lot going on, obviously. We need her to do the systemic piece of what she's working on. And while she's doing that, we need to go ahead and line up the Americans, the real ones, and start getting them organized and showing them how to be able to bring things back into their own control, because we need to be able to manage the land unregulated, unincorporated, and lawfully, the way that it was all intended. And I think that people are unaware that the common law is a living law, and we are the living law. Only the living people are exercising the law. And that's very different from all the policies and procedures and the regulations and the overreaching corporate chaos and confusion that people think is government, which it's not.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I love the idea of the land, getting back the land. It's interesting. I can just tell you where I'm at with mine. I've done
Yeah.
the research. We talked about the one. It'd be a quarter section, so 640 acres. Kansas is divided into mile sections. So it's a quarter section. I found the original patent, or in this case, it was a military warrant. We discussed that some time ago on here with Anna. Um, and I've went back to the Register of Deeds. I've followed everything through. I also have an abstract on the property. So I have the full chain. And it was actually only a few exchanges early on that was not my family in this particular piece of land. So it's really an easier one, I guess, from that regard. But where I'm at now is, and I told you this a while back, Neithy, I'm actually putting up fence around the full perimeter because it had been farmland, and I'm going to convert that over to for cattle. So we're fencing the perimeter right now as we speak. Just hit one or two water lines is all. So that's a whole other story. But so what I need to do now is I need to do the meets and bounds, and I need to put monuments. Um, and I'm kind of stuck there. I've been preoccupied with a number of other things, but I'm kind of stuck there. I would like to reach out to somebody that knows. I generally know what the meets and bounds is, but I want to make sure that I do it correctly. This is pretty simple property. It's a square,
Mm,
literally.
right.
So you're not like, so many paces down the brook around the tree, that sort of meets and bounds description. It'd probably be starting the northeast corner, so, a half a mile this way, south, a half a mile west, a half a mile east. or north, a half mile back east. It'll be a fairly simple one, but that's where I'm at. I want to get that meets and bounds survey completed and the monuments or the markers in place.
If you have the original, if you have a survey that they've already given you,
the cadastral, yep,
then it's easier to go by that and write the meets and bounds.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I guess I'm trying to figure out the words, that the words that I would, if I could see a good example of a meets and bounds, I think it would help me
What
to
the
just kind of
paces you
understand.
mean?
Well, do you talk in paces? Do you talk feet? Do you talk,
It's paces.
so
It's 10
you know,
paces this way, that way.
a half a mile is a lot of paces. That's
Yeah.
2,620 or 5280, so 2,640 feet. And a pace is what, 3 feet?
Well, it shouldn't be. Well, I don't know. Is that different than I thought the paces were your steps.
When I step off an extended step, my pace is 3 feet.
Oh.
So and these are just the details that I want to make sure, that I'm describing the distance properly. Once I
I think
understand,
there's a standard. We might
oh,
we probably can look this up.
we need to look it up. We need to look it up.
Yeah.
But I think with the proper meets and bounds, and then proper markers, then the next step is to record all that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, record it with your new name, and then we seal it. We print, publish, seal it, whatever, and then
publish it for 60 days minimum.
I thought it just had to be 30.
I think there's another good example.
Yeah,
but
we need to get some of the clarity on some of these points from Anna. I think so this is the other part of it that I wanted to ask her, because we're the living law and the common law has it been completely absent? This is what I wanted to ask her, is like, has it been completely absent for the 150 years? Is that a credible statement? It might not be. I don't know. We got to find out. But we are establishing what's common for American common law now.
An interesting, that's a good question you bring up, and I have a specific question with that regard. So when you build fence and you have a neighbor adjoining that, or a neighbor on the other side, the way that it works here on Kansas is when you stand on your property looking at the fence, you're responsible for the right half. So in this case, it's a half mile wide. So I'm responsible for the quarter mile to the right, and my neighbor would be standing looking at me, and he would be responsible for the quarter mile to his right or my left. That's not statute. I think that's common law or land law. And that's something I would like to ask Anna. I think that's, to kind of answer your question, is I think that's one of those things that has existed and has maintained all the way through, and it's not a policy or a statute. I believe that's common law. I don't know if it's common law or.
I think that is like a neighborly understanding.
Well, it's land law, because it's got to be law, because what if the neighbor said, no, I don't want to pay for the fence?
Oh, you mean this is something that is an understanding on Kansas?
Yeah.
Okay. So locally, it's your local common law practice there.
I believe so. I believe it is a common law, but I don't know that. I would. It's just things like that. There's a lot of old time things. There's things like with regard.
This is what I thought was a pace too. Like he's saying, or somebody is saying, military pace is one. I thought it was 1 foot. It was your 1 foot in front of another.
Okay. Yeah. Those are the details we need to clarify.
Right.
Yep.
Right. Because I think it's everybody's 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot. Like, I don't think you like overstep.
Right.
I think you're supposed to walk like normal. You don't need to like, when you're 5 and you do heel to toe, heel to toe.
Yeah.
I don't think you need to do that. I mean, listen, okay, so I can just tell you that I used to appraise. I was an appraiser. So
Oh yeah, there you go.
in appraising property, it was my footsteps.
Hmm.
So because I could measure it with my, I had all my measuring tapes and things, but because you have the one you can walk with, which by the way, if you take that walking, then you're measuring,
Wheel.
the
Yeah, I've got
walking
a
wheel.
wheel.
Yeah. So I have the wheel. I think that you can walk with the wheel
Yep.
and consider that your feet,
Yep.
your paces. And so instead of calling it a foot, you just call it a pace.
Huh. Okay. Yeah,
That's
let's
what
clarify that.
that's what we did when I was appraising.
Well,
So
it's funny because on a quarter section, that's 2 miles of walking
I
to
mean,
walk the
I
perimeter.
know it sounds crazy, but you want to know what about that? That walking wheel is something that you can just Google the translation of 2 miles.
Oh wow.
You know,
Yeah.
and a lot of us would have done that. But what I found is I would walk it the first time because it's your land. I would walk it and just see if it actually matches because whoever did the original survey, I'd be wanting to just know.
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
Yep.
So that's what I used to know as an appraiser,
Okay. Yeah.
and
I
because
think once I get a
we were trained with that walking wheel. So just
right. Once I get a couple of these details figured out, then I think it's time to get the recording done and the publishing done and put our website to the test from that
yeah,
regard.
absolutely. I mean, I've been testing it for the assembly for
Hmm.
assembly stuff. Um, I we have a lot of pressure. A lot of folks are like, hurry up and get your website fixed. And hey, friends, let me just tell you, we've done a lot. And now we are putting a lot more pressure on the team. And Greg and I are working on weekly deadlines.
Burn down lists.
So it should get cleaned up a whole lot faster. Although we've done a lot of cleaning up, there were so many things going on in this last year up until now. Um, there were too many parts and pieces, I think, that both Greg and I were working on. And you were preoccupied. I've been preoccupied trying to do a lot of things. And there was too many parts and pieces to it. And just remember, you guys, that we're all volunteering to do this. So fully voluntary project that we're working on. And also, there was a lot of conversations that we've had since we started and changed our mind about the system. Because the more you use it, the more you're like, oh, that's not good. We got to do it this way. So I will say that we had a vision. We implemented said vision. Anyone out there who knows when you're building something, then you build it and then you're like, that's dumb. That doesn't look right. This doesn't work. This is not, we got to make this better. Oh, we didn't think about this. And like, I'll just give you guys an example. We started it, Anna promoted it. A bunch of people came and started posting stuff. And then we got hit with all these patriots and anybody in YouTube land who brought, I don't know what, to
Whatever
upload.
they wanted.
Yeah, whatever they wanted to upload to the site. We were like, oh my goodness. And I'll tell you what it did was it really gave me a lot of pause and respect for what Anna's doing. Because she has been building, and correcting and course correcting this nation. And I mean, all the nation states and many other nations outside of America, um, while being, when she says she's got slings and arrows coming at her, we got a taste of that. And the things that the people, I mean, the things that the masters, the things that the masters are trying to um, stop us from being able to move forward with, are kind of crazy. And so if we were getting that much pushback just for the documents, then I can't even imagine what the bank is dealing with.
Well, you want to talk about, kind of what you just said there. We kind of stepped back, took a pause, and said, okay, what's the most important? What's the second most important? What's the third most important? And what we're really working to is that burn down list to get people home first and foremost. So get the basics done, get that recording done, get that to where they can go to GFG, open up an account. And I know a lot of folks that are listening have probably already done that. I get that, but we're going to have a lot of folks coming home.
Yeah.
Get that in place. Then 928 capabilities. But somewhere in there, we got to get this land, what we were just talking about, recording the land.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to do, but if we don't take it piecemeal, we will not get this done correctly. So we're just going to piecemeal our way through it methodically, week by week, right, with our burn down list, and and hopefully get done sooner than later that way, and something that's much more usable.
Yeah. Hey, friends, we have nothing to do with the Global Family Bank, so can't answer any of your questions there.
No, but I do think that from my comprehension, I should say, I think that the GFG is setting up various maybe recording secretaries on some of the states to help out. I know on Kansas, our recording secretary has an admin account to GFG, which will help expedite getting issues. So I would say that was in Alabama. Okay. Yeah, I would.
Well, there's a new education being rolled out.
Yeah.
So we have seen that for people to be able to help. I know. But I also know that they're getting so close right now that a lot of folks that have been locked out or have really new accounts, I think they're going to turn everything on at the same time.
I think so. That's the way I've seen it.
Yeah.
So,
rather than go back one at a time or whatever. So I think that's they're trying to focus on the launch date, and then anybody who's been locked out or who needs a reset or whatever, they're just going to do a full sweep and make sure everybody's account is doing what it's supposed to do. Anyway, we don't know. We can't really speak for the bank. We can only
just as excited as everybody else. We're anticipating it as much as everybody else.
I know. We can just say we know what it's like about managing the paperwork and and going through it and approving it and whatnot. And because of the need for securing it the way that we have, it is very manual. And so it takes time. And so I've literally had guys, Greg, put comments on our YouTube conversations about it saying, hurry up and fix your thing. And I'm like, dude, hang on, hang tight.
Yeah.
If only I could just wiggle my nose and just make the computer do what I wanted it to do.
Yeah. Well, we're at this breaking point. We're at this I don't like to use the word turning point because of that being in the news here, but we really are. And there's so much. You got the bank, you got everything that Anna's doing, and you got the International Court of Justice ruling, and she just issued a directive to Mr. Trump, Federation directive to Mr. Trump. I was just reading that before we started here. There's so much going on.
Mm-hmm.
You can get lost in the activity, and you just kind of have to reel back sometimes and say, okay, what's the most important steps that we got to do here?
Mm-hmm.
And because when the bank goes live, we can get our land secured. We don't have to register any license, register, all that crap.
Mm-hmm.
That's all great, but the work just begins. I
Yeah.
hate to tell you, the work just begins. We're just getting all that stuff out of our way. Now we got to get to work.
Yeah.
And and so it's winter, so that's somewhat helpful, but it's really made me think a lot about what does spring look like. You know,
Yeah.
what does spring look like? Because I'm going to make the assumption that I don't have any restrictions. I'm going to have my land fully out of the public. I'm going to be unincorporated fully. I can do whatever I want with it. If I want to plant hemp, that's a big one. I'm thinking it's a
Yeah.
great one for Kansas.
It's a great
Great
one to
rest,
remediate all kinds of these GMOs
great
and all this
restoration.
nonsense.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. So
Yeah.
I'm just I'm in that mode though of okay, start to prepare for everything being out of my way, and then get to work.
Right.
And so, and there's a lot of other areas. Well, big ag, big pharma, big education. When those all fall away,
Big
or
tech.
when we step away from them, let me put it that way. They can
Well,
do whatever they
actually, you
want,
mean when we step up and we
or when we
say,
step up. Yeah,
when we
but
step up and we say, hey, brother, okay, we've noticed and noticed and noticed.
mm-hmm,
We can't wait to be able to go ahead and we've already started noticing the sheriffs. While Anna is working on the generals, we're working on the sheriffs because the sheriffs are supposed to be backed up by the generals. And so we need our relationship with them to be solid. And so that's what we're doing.
yep.
It shouldn't be hard because I think the problem with a lot of the folks on the assemblies is they think that they're going to be doing all the little things. We're not going to be doing that.
That's why you got employees.
Right. We have people who are there ready to,
Yep,
rise to the occasion. I mean, the order followers are there.
yep.
So,
But at the end of the day, we all got to eat.
mhm.
We got to help people stay healthy and get healthy.
Right.
We want our children to learn in a manner that we want them. There's a lot of different ways you can go about that, but there's a lot of things that we have to get in place. But just take the food for example, and this, Niti, with what you do.
Mhm.
4 major meat packers in the U.S. control 99.9% of the market, right? When all that USDA crap falls away, and we step up and we bring back the local butcher, that's going to
Mhm.
be fabulous because people will have
Yeah.
access to local beef, local meats, without all the regulations and licensing and all the stuff. And the farmer that raises the beef will be able to make a better living and produce a better product and deliver it to the people that need it in his local area. So but we got to get all that in place. There's stuff that we'll have to get put in place.
Well, that's what we need to start talking about here is getting the farmers familiar with how to nationalize.
Yep.
And so we're going to start taking our conversations into that direction. How do you nationalize your business? And we'll just start by talking with the farmers because guess what a farmer is?
Business owner.
Actually, a farmer is a jack of all trades.
Well, that's true.
And
Yep.
and he's the jack of every trade
Yep, that's true.
because on a farm you have to be the electrician and the mechanic and the
Yep.
plumber and the ditch digger and the trash burner and the cook and and the butcher and the candlestick maker, right? Like so, um,
Yeah, and the accountant and everything else. You got to
and the
keep track of all of
marketer,
it. Yep.
right? And so It's funny when I hear our progeny say, "I don't want to be a farmer. I'm going to be anything else." And I'm like, "But if if you are a homesteader or a farmer, you are already doing everything."
Yeah, that's true.
And that's what living men did, because you were responsible for feeding yourself.
That's true.
And
Yeah.
nowadays, you got all these people who can't feed themselves.
Yep.
I mean, you got people who don't know how to chop an onion, never mind grow the onion.
Yep.
Or
Yeah.
maybe realize that they don't get onions all year long or whatever, right? Or how the onion changes or what the variety is. So,
Well, last week when we were digging, or when we were putting line posts in, or pipe posts in, and we hit water line, I was the ditch digger, but I did it with my excavator, so I wasn't a shovel. Uh, I just got done before I jumped on here changing oil in one of the trucks.
yeah,
And when I get done, I'm going to go change oil in one of the other, the side by side. And somewhere along in there, I'll need to clean up, in the janitor and everything in between. So you're absolutely right. It takes a large skill set to be a farmer, or just to be a homesteader, farmer, whatever you want to call it, to be on the land.
right.
Uh, but it's very enjoyable because I was out in the sun and I was out in the fresh air, and
Mm-hmm.
and I wasn't stuck inside. So we got to turn that around to where some of these younger folks want to go do that. They see the not
Mm-hmm.
we're all different, and different things appeal to us, but it'd be nice if some of the younger folks really looked at that and said, okay, this is exciting, very diverse. I get to be outside, and I
Mm-hmm.
get to help people, and I get to make people healthier and make the soil healthier. And there's a lot of benefits to it if or when we step up and leave the regulation behind,
Mm-hmm.
because that is what's making them not want to be a farmer now, is
Well,
they
you can
see
stop
things
the
like that.
regs. You can stop the regs right now. I'm evidence of that. You
Yeah,
have to
yeah,
know who you are, and you have to stand up for what you are doing.
yeah,
You don't have to comply.
that's right.
And you didn't have to do that before,
That's
you
right.
know? And I keep saying, Greg, I've been going back to the first episode and clipping, um, you know, what do you call them? Shorts from the first, from the beginning episodes. And Anna says, and she's been saying this since the beginning, okay, that your power is from within you. And when are you going to stop allowing and
Yep,
empowering the evil people? They didn't start probably out evil, okay? And also, the good people don't realize they're empowering the evil people.
yep,
If you're that guy that's like, well, what am I supposed to do about it? I can't do anything about it. Oh, I can't say anything about it. Yeah, you can. You can just not participate.
yep, that's
You
right.
can stop participating right now. I stopped participating and made a difference in my neighborhood. Do you know that when I first started working with the farmers, then we did not have any GMO free feed that was available to anyone on North Carolina from North
Wow,
Carolina.
wow.
And I will take credit for single handedly demanding and commanding and pushing the needle so that we do now. Because if moms across, and I'm going to say moms because I think we should be running the kitchens, but when the kitchens start demanding GMO free pork and chicken and whatever,
Hmm.
then the farmers always rise to the occasion to meet the demand.
Yeah, absolutely. Because
And
they get out of the
so,
commodity racket. That's
right,
the other thing. It's a
they
great
want out.
opportunity. They can,
Yeah.
they can, yeah, they can get to a better market that way.
And they themselves established growers
Hmm.
locally because they were able to go to them and say, look, brother, I have this much of a chicken demand and I have this
Yep,
much need for this kind of feed. And because of that, I will support you exclusively if you help me. And they started making these deals with guys who were growing grains
yep.
already, and they worked their way and remediated it. Do you know they did all that on their own? And they even
Hmm.
offered their chickens onto the land to help to create the magnetic energy and do the remediation as they were cleaning through fields. And we sold their pastured GMO birds that were cleaning the old fields on the way to get into the better chicken, because there's a market for everybody.
Oh yeah.
You know, the guy that's eating at a Food Lion and the one that's eating at KFC all the time, and then moving all the way to the mom who needs the soy-free, GMO-free, right? Everything. And so we did that over the last 15 years, you know, and have gotten it to where now we have GMO-free feed for the farms that are here doing that. And so this is going to be a constant pressure, and we can just put bigger, greater pressure. Once we're funded, it's easier to put better, greater pressure, because listen, once everyone has the relief, you're going to not go on vacation. You're going to need to come to work on your own for the things that you're inspired to do. So we keep saying, what do you want? Anna keeps saying, what do you want? What do you want?
Yep.
All right.
Really think about that. Yeah. So, you know, example of, you're talking about the farming. So the big deal is, you know, the tariffs and selling to China and selling GMO soybeans to China and all this stuff. And it's like, my God, why? There's so many things wrong with that situation. So what you just talked about is exactly what needs to happen in every community, every region, and that is grow the stuff locally, sell it locally. It's vertically integrated. Feed it to in this case, the pork and the chickens. The cattle don't need it because they're ruminants, so they don't need that. But you know, and keep all that local. Why would we be dependent on a trade deal with China to sell our crops? That's just ridiculous. So you popped up. It looked like you had something to say, and I cut you off. Sorry about that, Niti.
No. I mean, we're having a good banter back and forth. I was no, I mean, you know, I was kind of distracted a little bit by the folks in the chat. So
Okay.
I'm just going to go through a couple of these. All right, Johnny Landscape. If the courthouses don't know that they're a fraud, I don't believe them. Okay, so definitely the attorney generals know. Definitely the judges know. How do they know? Do you know how they know? They know because they're corrupt. Hello? Did you know that the judges are constantly doing a dance? And they're changing jurisdictions without revealing that they're changing jurisdiction. They know 100% who the creditor is and who the debtor is. They know if you go in their court and you ask them to identify who everyone is on the board in the game that you're playing in that courtroom, they know they cannot address you if you're a living man. They 100% know that. They 100% know. Reasons why so many of them are resigning and trying to figure something out.
Point in the Federation directive to Mr. Trump that Anna just issued, or that just got issued, I'll say, is directed to foreign judicial districts. So directly at exactly what you just talked about there, the district courts.
I mean, they're not going to come out and say, "Hey guys, we're going to just take our signs down and just disappear into the night," because they're not going to announce to everybody, "Hey,
we're frauds.
We're the criminals. We're going to be, you know, here's your buildings back." No. What do you want them to say? What do you want them to do? They're waiting until it all falls down, okay, I guess. I don't know why, Barbie, you're asking about the GFG recording secretaries. Did we say? Did you? I think you
Well,
were saying.
the recording secretary on Kansas,
Mm-hmm.
this is just Kansas, which is what I'm aware of,
Uh huh.
is also an admin with GFG, so that if somebody on Kansas is having issues,
Mm-hmm.
we can go to our recording secretary here. I was just wondering, maybe that happened with some of the other states. That was all. That was where that came from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like we said, Ashley, we don't have anything to do with the bank. So let's just everybody in the chat, if you're talking about the bank, we're not addressing you because we don't work for the banks.
We're
Sorry, guys.
waiting like you are.
Yep, we're just on the other side of it. Anyway, what we do know is that there was a time when the bank, like people could volunteer to help the bank, and they'd put people through training and stuff. That was a little while ago. I don't think I've heard them say anything about it right now, and I doubt that they have time to do any of that right this minute. So, I know that moving forward right now, they have modules that they are going to open up because I know that there's a bazillion people out there that are like, how are we going to use our money? How are we going to do it? Well, you're going to get a class, so don't worry about it. Anyway, enough about that. Yeah. So
You're still reading the comments,
I
aren't you?
know
Go
I need
ahead.
to stop it.
Hit some of them if you got some there.
Well, I mean, it's all about the bank. Like I'm gonna just stop it because we don't work for the bank. So sorry, guys. I thought if there was something that we can say about it, but we can't really say anything about it because we don't work for the bank.
Nope.
And also the bank doesn't have anything to do with your assembly.
Right.
They don't. So just no.
They're
They don't
separate
have
entities.
anything to, yes. Um our assemblies are unincorporated, lawful American government. We're the lawful American government. The bank is operating in commerce, and they're providing a service to all the living men as we want to operate in trade and commerce. It's a service.
Yep.
So
and they're
there's that.
they're operating in multiple jurisdictions because they have to operate on the land as well to hold physical assets, because only physical
Mhm.
assets can be held on the land. Script,
Right.
which is what we're used to, right? Paper.
Which is
You know,
air
that
jurisdiction.
that yeah, so that's commerce, so that has to
Mhm.
operate in the multiple jurisdictions so that it can be
Right.
the spoke, and interact with everything that's out there. And if you
Right.
think about it, that's a massive undertaking
Right.
to be able to do that. So, yeah, I'm not a patient. I'm not typically very patient, but we just have to be patient with this. There's a lot. Uh, this is very profound, and there's a lot to it, all of it, and it's just taking time.
It's such a big deal for all the living men to break away and break back out and call out all, no one was calling the crime out.
Right.
You know, when you see Cookie Monster's hand in the cookie jar, you got to say, "Hey, brother, I can see your hand. It's in the jar."
Yeah.
But one of the old episodes that we did with Anna, I asked her, I go, I have a bunch of people asking me how you're even alive. How are they allowing you to live? Because normally when people call these folks out, these criminals, these brigands, then they're taking people out, right? And she said, well, it's simple. When you know the law, when you have knowledge of the law, then operating in the law, they actually have to honor you, and it behooves them to do their job and protect you because that is their actual job. And if they know that you know who you are, they have a usufructuary duty to honor that. And they actually do. Because the way they operate is they operate under the maxims of commerce. And so let he who is fooled be fooled.
Yep.
That means if you believe that all caps COURT is a real court, then let you be fooled, because all caps COURT doesn't mean anything. It's gibberish in the proper English language. We don't write anything in all capital letters. That is not proper English based on the Chicago Manual of Styles or the New York Manual of Styles or any of the American English manuals of styles. You can have a capital C and a lowercase OURT, but you can't have all caps. That's not a word.
So it's all about, like you said, deception and fraud, and convincing you to use your own free will to contract with them, because they don't. We all have free will, and if somebody imposes their will on you, they have karmic effects from that. So you get into the spiritual realm, and so they don't do that. They just fool us, and we make the decision ourselves. And so then they have no impact from that.
Right. Well, they get to lie.
They get to lie.
They get to lie, and we don't, because we operate in honor.
They get to lie, but we get to choose to believe their lie or not. That's the key to it. And so if you choose not to believe their lie, then they can't influence your will directly. They can only lie to you or deceive you.
Well, they have to honor your free will choice.
They have to. That's
and
right.
You have to know that you have your free will choice. Like this lady, she wants to grow her family. Well, we're a long way from that. How about, why don't you learn about who you are and how to stand up as who you are? And then you'll know how to do that. Because if you don't know how to talk to people and tell them who you are, Sydney, you can't do anything. Most people, first you need to know who you are. And you're not a U.S. citizen if you were born here. So what are you? You need to know. Look, a lot of this stuff goes back to, how do you run your business? How do you do your things? Like, we have to have real talk. And what everybody is used to is the corporation way, where we give you your pamphlet of, okay, here's your SOP on how to do whatever. Well, nobody's supposed to be telling you how to run your business. And
I normally don't read the comments, but I'm actually looking at them today. So, but I saw one from Richard there. I love that comment. He's right. Contract law sits above everything. So if you and I form a contract with one another, that's a contract. But the key is the elements of the contract have to be there. And his point is, they're not giving us consideration with the contracts they're offering us, so they're not valid contracts. And that's a really,
they're based on non-disclosure, 100%.
Exactly.
It's fraud.
Exactly. It's fraud.
Right. So you have to know contractual law.
You do. Yep.
Right. And you have to also.
But a contract is a contract that contains the four basic elements. Let's say neither you and I contract with one another, and we have all the basic elements of a contract. It doesn't matter what jurisdiction we sit in. It doesn't matter common law, none of that. You and I have to honor that contract with one another. That's contract law, period. It sits above everything else.
Well, our word is our bond.
Yeah, that's right.
So I don't have to write it.
And a contract doesn't have to be on paper. It can be, Niti, I want to buy 6 chickens from you for 2 pieces of silver. and you say, okay, I agree to deliver 6 chickens to you for 2 pieces of silver on such and such date.
Mhm.
Done, sealed.
We shake on it, boom, it's done.
Make it so. Number one.
Right, make it so. That's right, and then when you back out on it, or I
Yeah,
back
when I
out
say,
on
you know
it,
what, I don't want to give you the 2 pieces of silver.
I mean, if we back out on it, well, then now we learned a lesson, and I think farmers know this very well
Oh
because
yeah,
people back out on their word all the time.
all the time, all
All
the
the
time.
time. And they'll
Yep,
say, "Hey, will you raise a flock of birds for me?" And you do. And then they
yep,
say, "Oh my God, I didn't know it was that many birds," or
yep,
whatever nonsensical thing that they say. And then
yep,
they back out. And now you're left with a whole flock of birds to sell that you thought were sold.
yep,
And now you got to go find someone else to sell it to. But
yep,
also, guess what? Now you're never going to take that guy's word again.
yep,
And their word is no good. And
yep.
when they say that your word is bond, people are going to learn this as we move forward. Because look, guys, when everybody has their inheritance and no one needs to work for money, then you're going to need them to work for you out of the goodness of their heart.
You could
Or
have all the gold and silver in the world, but you're not going to eat it.
you
You
sure
gotta
aren't.
have food.
That's right. And the problem is there's so many people here with a bad attitude right now. This isn't a good attitude. Respectfully, nobody asked you to participate. Respectfully, everybody's volunteering. And respectfully, someone volunteered and sacrificed their entire life to ensure that you get your inheritance. And so they don't owe you anything at all. And there are weekly updates, not monthly, but you're just not listening. You're not tuning in. There are updates every week when there's something to talk about. And everything's being written. It's in Anna's articles a million times. It's being said. If you listen to her Monday webinars, if you're not listening, can't help you. But there's so many people that are not following. And this show isn't about the bank. This one is about how to run your businesses. And what's your business, Greg?
My business, my business is farming, working on the land.
I mean, but I have a lot of businesses.
Oh yeah,
There's
yeah, true. Yeah, I've
there's
lived.
my
That's
there's
all.
my
That's
household. There's my
that's all.
household business.
Yeah, living is a business. That's all I've done. That's all we've all done to some extent. But that's all I've done for 25 plus years. I haven't worked for somebody for going on 30 years now.
Mhm.
As an employee-employer relationship, I've had to
Mhm.
find my market, produce the
Mhm.
product, whether it be farming or the engineering work I did or whatever, or like you said, just running your household,
Mhm.
balancing the checkbook,
Right.
making sure there's food.
Yeah.
That's all business. Yeah.
Right. I mean, listen, everything we do is running a business, and everything that we we got Manuel saying he's like, I don't contract, or Heavenly saying you can't be judging people with their attitude. Yeah, we can. Actions speak louder than words, and your words are actions on this thing. So you know, everybody's actions are, and their words here, the way you participate in any kind of given situation is your action, right? And so we have to, that's all we can go by, right, Greg?
Yeah.
We can just go by that. And it is absolutely how I see it. You're 100% correct. That is right.
Well,
um,
I'm just like everybody else,
yeah,
with the bank situation, but
yeah,
I can sit there and dwell on the negative side of it, or I can think about the positive, and I choose to think about the positive. And that
right,
is start thinking about what I'll do. What's your dream? What do you want to do when you
right.
receive your inheritance, and start making a plan.
Hmm.
And just think about the positive side of it. I think that's the best approach.
Well, again, they're having to combat the masters.
Yeah.
I think the people here who don't build things and don't know how to set stuff up and haven't actually had to create something as mammoth as a bank to serve all of mankind, which has never been done in history.
Well, yeah, but think about this. We're not just talking about a
Mhm.
banking thing. We're
No.
not just talking about currency and fiat and all that. We're talking about a country. We're talking
Mhm.
about 160 years of deceit,
Yeah.
300 years in England. We're talking about spiritual warfare that's going on. We're talking about something that's so deep, all converging together right here.
Yeah.
I think you just have to understand or comprehend the gravity of the overall
Mhm.
larger situation. And the
Actually,
bank is just one little bitty piece of all of this that's going on.
mhm.
And this can't, 160 years of wrong can't be corrected in a few months. Uh, so I just look at it from that perspective, and I'll say it again, it's so profound.
Mhm.
Everything that's going on is so profound. We're creating a new earth. We're witnessing the creation of a new earth. Let me put it that way. It's
Yeah.
taken some time, and I'm have to exercise some patience, and I'm not very patient typically. But when I look at what is happening, I'm somewhat in awe. And you know, it's the old saying, the journey. It's all about the journey and not the destination, right? And I'm a horrible one to say that because I'm so impatient, but it is sometimes.
Yeah.
And the bank is just one piece of this overall thing that's happening. And I really enjoy reading Anna's articles. I don't know, you talk about it's out there. She's putting stuff out daily right now. She's cranking it out, and I'm just enjoying every time one comes out. I'm digging into it, and that's
Yeah.
the best way for me to stay up to speed and know what's going on.
And it's so much. I mean, I think I'm a little bit behind because you can't even read it fast
If
enough.
you haven't read for 2 days, you're way behind.
You're out. Yeah. And this is the wheel.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
It's the orthodoxy, the centralized orthodoxy.
Yeah.
And on this wheel, this is just the big spokes, which is the church, the jobs, the universities, the banks, the government, the education, all the media, music and sports, the boy and the Girl Scouts. I mean, it's
Yeah.
deep, and
Yep.
it's 1,000 years, not 150 years,
That's right.
because
That's
Britain has been manipulated for 1,000 years. Okay.
Yep.
And all the colonization has been 1,000 years of evil, straight evil.
Yep.
So if you don't comprehend the gravity of how big this is, the bank is one little piece of this pie, and the bankers are the ones who've been really monopolizing most of this other stuff. I mean, have you yet reconciled that religion is all man-made?
Yep.
Most people here are still going to be too angry about that, right? They'll still can't handle it.
Yep.
And that's like a really, really big deal. And, um, you know, we are having to iron all these things out. So, um,
Niti, can you put in the chat, or I don't know, I probably can, but can you put Paul
link,
Strummer's,
yes,
because somebody just asked where that information is, and
right.
that's a great
Listen,
question.
this is
Um,
really good, Mary. So
yeah,
look
this
at
is good.
Mary. This show is Anna's. This is just us having discussions about, and it's not just Anna's work. Okay. I think it's really important for everyone to really know that Anna um, went to the Pope with a council of 900. Okay. And I'm going to put her website here, not Paul's, because
There you go. Yep, I was just thinking that because you need
Mhm,
to read article number 1.
yeah. So if you go here, I just put the link in the chat, guys. Anna Von writes, that's her pen name. This is her pen name, okay, guys? And I like when a lot of people are like, know your rights, REITZ, because Anna is the one who's advocating for this, but we say it's about Anna, and she's the one who has the whole collection there, okay? But Anna was one of 900. And when they presented all the crimes and reported all the crimes to the Vatican, then Pope Benedict had to provide remedy because the crimes were all based on all roads led back to Rome. And if you read Anna's first 50 articles, you'll get a better picture of just the history.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to know that there were so many other people involved because it wasn't. And at the very top of her thing there, it says the top 10 articles for rapid assistance. It kind of gives you like a rapid education if you need remedy. But I don't know how many people comprehend that. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't think very many people do.
Those first, gosh, 20.
Oh yeah.
Maybe the first
Probably
50,
more.
I'm going to say 50. At least the first 50 articles are like books. They're big.
Well, 25 as an example is live people seal documents with an autograph, corporations use signatures. So boom, 25. You need to read Article 25.
Yeah.
And that's just one simple example of those first 50 to 100 even.
Right. I mean, the truths that are revealed, that's just a good one pager, which is rare for Anna. I'd say, well, nowadays her average is about 5 pages. I think.
That's true. Yeah.
There was a period where it was a couple, like 3 or 4 pages. But this is where you need to start. Okay, Mary.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I hope that helps you. Because honestly, you just have to be reading it. And the thing is that this is what, at least 5 years minimally. When did she start the website?
Oh boy.
Gosh.
I was trying to think when the letter to the
Archbishop.
Yeah.
I'm looking. Oh, is there a date on here?
I
Oh
don't
yeah,
know.
2014.
Yeah, there you go. 11 years ago. Almost 12.
Yeah. So got a lot of reading to do. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's the reason why we started the podcast, to break things down. But if you really, really want the education, which I encourage everyone to have the full knowledge, because just like people are arguing, oh, that's, your perception. 100% is. That's right. So for you to have your own, perspective, you have to read a lot. That's one of the things that we have had to realize is it's not just reading anything, it's reading the right things, right? Well, everything that you need to read is on that website. And then everything we're talking about here is about things that you would read there or conversations that we've had with Anna. So,
Yeah, and the website, Anna's website has a great search feature. I use that all the time.
yes.
I'll come across something and it's like, oh yeah, what does Anna have to say about that? And I'll do that search and it really works well. So it's just going to search through all her PDFs, all her articles, and then present you all of them that discuss whatever that is, whether it's a word or a phrase or whatever it is you put in there. But I've used that a lot.
Yes. And Richard, this point that he's making is important for Mary and everybody to know. The Rothschild bankers were the accountants and the bankers for the Vatican. And the Vatican is the commercial branch of the church versus the Holy See, the Pope's office. So I think a lot of people don't. A lot of folks have said, "Do you just hate the Pope?" It's like, this isn't really about just the Pope. It's about the business of the Vatican. And Anna said that when they went to see Pope Benedict, that he was visibly disturbed with the information that they went to him with regarding the harm that was being caused. So, yeah. So, Mary, this is the occulted knowledge that the Vatican and all the world powers, which is the Vatican and the Crown, didn't want anybody to know. I don't know how many people remember a time when the church didn't want anyone except for not just men to be able to read and write, but only the men of the church. You remember what I'm talking about, Greg?
Yep. Only the ones that were indoctrinated into the system. Everybody else they wanted illiterate so that they could just be peasants and work, do all the work for them and everything. Not just the women, but the men out working on the land, producing the food so they could sit back and be fat, dumb, and happy.
Right. So they didn't want anybody to, that's the reason why they tried to make Latin basically obsolete. Because if you do not know how to read and write and speak in Latin, then you wouldn't be able to know the fraud. And yes, we were the plebes. They wanted everybody to be the plebes, and nobody was good enough. You want to talk about judgment? That's the people judging you, not me. I'm not. I think everybody was born worthy beyond belief. I think everybody is so important and they matter so much. But, for you to expect other people to be responsible for you is just ridiculous. It's not okay.
Yeah, we're all self-governing.
Right.
Responsible for our own selves.
That's right. And any work that anyone else is doing on our behalf, anyone who's doing any work on my behalf, I am just grateful for. And anyone who thinks that they have I guess the right to have some type of expectation like that, or they're owed.
That's a great example, Niti. I think that is something to focus on, and I'm experiencing that now. I'm building this fence, so I have a living man, and he hires younger living men, and they're out there working on this. And I stop in there all the time. What do you guys need? Do I need to, I ran and got materials for them the other day so they didn't have to stop work. And I just stopped in there today to kind of talk about the next few days. What are we going to do? And he brings up, he's like, well, it's going to be a little tight. My wife's in traveling because of whatever she's doing, and they got kids, and it's like everybody else has a life too. And so I'm like you. I'm just grateful he's out there building this fence, because I can build fence, but he builds much better fence than I do. So yeah, I think that's a great point. When somebody's doing you a service, you need to show them that respect for that and appreciate what they're doing for you. And likewise, when you're doing somebody else's service, you would like that. It's one of the basic 2 rules, right? The only 2 rules we have to follow.
Right. And entitlement isn't one of them.
No, entitlement is not one of them.
Entitlement is actually one of those British false beliefs that they put on everybody. It's something of the elitists.
The title. There's that title again,
Yeah,
right?
the
That title
title.
word.
Yeah, we're not entitled to anything.
Titles
And
to vehicles, titles to
mhm,
people, entitlement. Just look at
mhm,
that. It's all the same.
right, right.
Yep.
So we have to
Speaking
start.
of building fence though, and changing oil and stuff, I do need to go before I run out of daylight.
I know we
Um,
got to go. We wanted to start this conversation and bring everybody up to speed about how we are moving forward with the land and how how we're going to be moving forward with bucolic living law and helping to get everybody set up on there. And we're calling all landowners, all the farmers, homesteaders, because they don't know it, but they don't really own their land. They
So
don't.
what I would like to throw out there to everybody, and this is my action item, or if anybody can help me with this, is what unit of measure do I use for a meets and bounds survey,
Yeah.
and how do I measure that? And I think once I get that, and then I'd like an example of a meets and bounds, so that just that wording, because it's going to be old school
Hmm.
wording. I'll call
Hmm.
it old
Hmm.
wording.
Yeah.
I just want to do this elegantly. I want it to be a really great meets and bounds survey. And then, getting the monuments in place or the markers is no big deal. And then, I'm going to throw my hat in the ring, and I'm going to go through this process. So if somebody can help me with that, I'll reach out to Anna and see if she can direct me to somebody that can help with the measurements, the unit of measure that we use. And
Yeah.
that'll launch us into reclaiming our land.
Yeah. And we can start with, we'll just be focused with that as of next week, right?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's find that answer, and then we'll talk that through next week.
Yeah. So we look forward to seeing everybody here next week who want to learn about nationalizing your businesses, reclaiming your land, and specifically anybody who's a landowner. So we can get people on America declared and get them, back in control of their land and their businesses. Because as soon as the business owners can be nationalized, they can finally support their families and themselves with something that seems to be their passion because they started their business, right? Especially the jack of all trades, which is all the farmers and homesteaders.
Yep.
Cool. All right, guys. Thank you so much. And we'll see you next Thursday at the new time, which is 3 p.m. Eastern. And we love you so much. And we hope everybody has a great week.
Yep. See you, everybody.